Alright, and we're live. How's it going, everybody? This is Video Boy. Welcome. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a second to post the link. Also, I just want to let you guys know that today we're going to be working on the map editor pretty much the entire time. So my plan is to finish adding in the new thing that we worked on the last live stream, which was the I forget what I called it, but like the different tile sets. So we're going to do that. That shouldn't take too long. And then after that, we're going to work on adding in the entity adder tool. So I already started doing that, and I basically just have to finish it. I still have quite a bit of work to do on it, but I should be able to get it done. And yeah, so I'll just post all the stuff for you guys. Alright, post on Discord, and just gotta go on Twitter real quick. Alright, almost done. Alright. So let's do this. So let's just see where we are right now. Alright, so it seems like it's just displaying everything right now. So I'm going to go and check here. So the thing that actually loads all of these things is tool independent here. So I'll just open that up again. So this sidebar here actually depends on what tool you have selected currently. Whoa, okay, that just crashed. Oh. Wait, what was that error? Line 13. Oh, okay. Alright, well it looks like it's not possible to... Okay, well that's a good bug to cover. Basically it's just crashing because if you don't have a map loaded and you try to use this tool, then it crashes because it tries to get the map's name, but that's okay. We'll just do if map is not equal to null or something like that. That probably won't completely fix the bug, but it's just good enough for now. All right, sorry about that. Hey, welcome everybody. Chat's open if you guys want to send some messages. So yeah, like I was saying, if you go in the different tools, you have a different sidebar that has different options you can use for that tool. So just say you have the pencil tool, you can choose the visibility of the different layers. You can go between tiles and elements, and then you can select the elements you want to use and use them on the map. So for the bucket tool and the pencil tool, I'm going to have to add in like a drop down menu here where you can choose what tile set you want to use. And I don't think that'll be too hard to do. So I just have to do it for one and basically just copy it over onto the other one. let's go here in tools, editor tools. So let's just start with the pencil for now. And I believe it's down the bottom. So yeah, see it's here, add components. So this method adds all the different sidebar options. Hey, how's it going, cold turkey? So yeah, it adds all the sidebar options. So like we saw, the visibility for the selected layers. Here you have the checkbox for, which one is it? Yeah, the visibility of the elements. Okay, so here, hold on. I don't know why I keep closing it. I should just leave it open. So I should have it after the search bar. So let's do that. Okay, so here you have the label for that. List title. So let's create a combo box. Yeah, I guess it'd be fun if I just keep it declared here. Oh, sorry, just got a call. Combo box. Tile set. Combo box. Now, I'm not 100% sure what I need to do exactly for adding in a combo box. I'll go look at some of my other code where I did it as an example, like the entity adder here. I used one. Okay, yeah, so I had a label. I don't think I'll bother using a label. It's kind of self-explanatory what it's for. Okay, so combo box, and you have to specify what type is in there. I think I'll just use string. Okay, so you have to set a preferred size. Here, I'll just copy that. Values to put in. Right, and then the grid bag constraints. Okay, so I'll just keep those dimensions for now. It's no big deal. And I basically just have to, oops, I should actually specify the object that's supposed to be in there. So a string should be good. Because tile sets aren't actually a thing, it's just different categories. I remember we created different categories. I think we even called it a category. So for string category, in every, okay, so we need access to the asset manager here. Tool. Yeah, okay, so we should have access to editor dot get asset manager dot get category tiles, and then dot key set. So that's going to loop through every key. So in the last live stream, when I added in those categories into Archipelo, like just the game and the server and all that stuff, and also added into here so that it wouldn't crash, I created a hash map that stores all the different tiles and everything in with their own category. So that's kind of handy. So this is the hash map, and then we'll just get the set of keys, and yeah, and then just basically add them as options in the combo box. So tile set combo box, add item, and then the category, and that's basically it. Yeah, so then we just have the grid bag layout. The constraint, sorry. I just want to make sure everything's good. I got the list. Okay, and the list is at 9, so we're gonna have to update the other stuff. That's one thing that's a little bit annoying too. When you're doing this, you're gonna have to update the other things as well. So the grid of that will be 9, and then this one changes to 10 because we're adding in a new item, so we need to, everything that's after it, we need to bump it up to a different position. And this is for not the list title, but this is for the tile set combo box. Yeah, that's a good question. Why didn't you use Scene2D for the map editor? I was thinking about different things, and yeah, swing isn't very nice. But I figured it would be a bit easier to just get started and use that. And the reason I'm not using tiled is that I'm doing things a little differently than most RPGs do. Basically, here I'll show you. Tiled would be nice and easy if I just wanted to start working on the maps, but I have some efficiencies that I've done with everything. Okay, hold on. Why can't I find anything right now? Map elements. So they have the elements here. Now, in a usual RPG, they would split up trees and things like that into tiles, right? But in Archipelo, the way everything is designed is that a tree is a full thing on its own. And then we can specify the collision around it and stuff like that. So it's really like a standalone object. So it's rendered properly, and it has all that stuff. So that way we don't have to use a bunch of layers and stuff like that. So it's a bit more efficient on the networking side, and probably a bit on the rendering as well too. So yeah, that's what I would think. But yeah, also one thing too is that with tiled we can't add in entities and stuff, which is what I plan on doing with this. So I plan on having a lot of features in this map editor that wouldn't be part of tiled. But yeah, that's basically all. Good question though. I've debated all these things before, so I've thought about it. And in the swing isn't very good. The collision, now the collision isn't like perfect. I've covered it a long time ago. Haven't really talked about it much. So the images are standalone and they're rendered as one big thing, but they do have constraints. Like for example, they have to fit within a tile region. So like just say this tree, it's 2 tiles wide by 3 tiles tall. And the collisions are basically twice that. So the collisions would be 4 wide and 6 tall, and there would be squares. So those little squares we would select off. So since it's 4 wide, we would basically select the 2 middle squares like this. So it's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. And so not only elements have precise collisions like that, but tiles do as well. So tiles are split in 4 for their collision. And I'm probably going to do something later on, like here, I'll just open up Paint quick. So just say this is the tile. I'm thinking later on I might actually program some more intelligent collision. So just say the collision is like this. The collision engine would actually make it a slope inside the game, like that. So then we can do things like stairs and whatever. So that's kind of an idea to make the collisions a little bit more precise. Yeah, well, now that I look back at it, I would say, yeah, probably Box 2D. Sorry. Yeah, no, sorry, never mind. Oh yeah, no, yeah, Box 2D is a pretty good option, but I don't know, I just want to, I don't know, I'm probably wrong, but I would think that trying to do a game over the network using Box 2D, the collisions would be a little too complicated, especially on the server end. Doing a bunch of polygon collision checks and stuff like that would be a little slow. I would prefer more just having servers that can support more players rather than having a bit more accurate collisions. Because if you see gameplay of Archipelo and stuff like that, it's really not that bad. I mean, it seems good enough. And for a small 2D game like that, it's no big deal. But yeah, it definitely is a good thing to consider, though. Okay, so the combo box should be added in now. So let's actually just... Okay, so it's there, but there's nothing actually populating it. Editor, Get Assets Manager. Because it's probably that the actual hash map isn't being populated. Man, I really want to get back into development of this game. I'm starting to forget where everything is. Asset Manager. Okay, so here are category tiles, category elements. It seems like it should be populating it. I wouldn't see why not. Okay, tile list on add. Yeah, should be good. I don't see why. I should have one category in there called grasslands. Here, what if I just do like a simple output thing here, see what happens. Yep, nothing gets outputted. I feel like my mouse only glitches out when I'm streaming. Yeah, you're probably right about Box2D being more efficient. It's probably even more efficient, considering that it's been super optimized, and it's probably more efficient than my code actually at this point. It would be a bit too complicated to go back, I think, and also designing things with Box2D. Yeah, designing everything to use Box2D would be a bit more complicated. I would have to change a lot of things about how the collisions are defined in the game for things like that. Like I can quickly show you here the config for the collision on the tree. And yes, I am a computer science student. So you can see the tree here. So this is the actual JSON of the collision map for the tree. So it's just a simple 2D array, and you say true, true for where you want to have the collision. So if we did in Box2D, we would have to have some sort of array of polygons, and then each polygon would have like a definition, and there would also be like different kinds of shapes, because it's not just polygons. Probably have circles and stuff too. So yeah, it would be cool. I don't know, it's definitely something to consider for the future, but I'm kind of just at the point where I just want to get the game to be playable. But yeah, it's definitely something to consider. Can I do a quick overview of everything? I guess so. It seems like there's a few new viewers joining now. I guess a lot of people have joined since the last devlog, so getting some new faces. I don't know, what do you want to know exactly? Do you want to see like gameplay of it, or things that I've implemented so far, or? Alright, gotta figure out this bug here. All right. So I would say probably the best way to show you what I've implemented so far is to just look in all the configs of the different things in the game. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted now. Yeah, no, definitely. The inefficiencies will manifest themselves with more players. I would definitely see that. Yeah, I tried to design things as best as possible. I didn't really try to focus too much on efficiency from the start. I was focusing more on just having good features and stuff that's very modular and easy to change in the future. And also I wanted to design things so that it wouldn't be restrictive on what map designers wanted to have and things like that. I want to be very, the options to be open so that we can do almost anything without having to do too much work still. So I've really created like a pretty crazy game engine over the past year and a half with this, almost 2 years now actually. So yeah, I can show you what I've implemented. And yeah, I would say game development's a good place to start if you, I mean, you've only been programming for 2 years, but it's a good place to learn a lot of things. It's much more puzzle solving and head scratching, I find. Yeah, that's what happened to me with Archipelo originally. I worked on it for 2 years and then I restarted it completely just because the design was bad. See, the thing is, adding in the box 2D collisions would take effort, but not that much. Like I could probably do it fairly quick. I'm kind of reluctant to do it right now. I just want to get things ready to play. But it's something I can definitely do in the future. I mean, we're only planning on starting the Kickstarter probably in 8 months, or actually 7 months now. And then after that, I don't know how long it's going to take for the game to be released, but we'll have some time. And there's 5 other team members, so they're not all programmers, of course, but we'll have some more involvement in the future, I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'll finally get to your stuff, Mark, that you wanted to see. So the main gist of it is that I have everything loaded in from JSON configs. So all the entity types. So see, we have the different entities. There's even the door, the player. They all have their own JSON configurations. Now, of course, you can't have, like logic in configuration files. So these configuration files get loaded with settings for the entities, but the entities themselves actually use, they have their own well, classes, of course, would be the name of the thing in Java, but they have their own logic that get assigned to them. So it is possible to create 2 entities with different configs but use the same in-game logic and reasoning. So that totally makes sense. Like just say you have a skeleton or something. You have 2 different kinds of skeletons. One is really big and has completely different collision rectangles, completely different data, different images, but their logic is exactly the same as any other skeleton. So we could reuse the logic in different areas. So yeah, it loads in everything related to it. The animations for the different things. The animations can also use the same images as other animations. So you can see here like sprint and default, which is walk, both use the walk animation, but the sprint is sped up. Stuff like that. Same thing for items. We have a ton of items in the game now. Actually, there's way more than I thought. Jeez. Yeah, I think Landon's been adding in a lot of items. Same thing, they all have their own JSON configuration with things like their stats. And as I've showed just a second ago, the tiles and the elements also have their own configuration, what category they're part of, all that good stuff. So yeah, everything is pretty much loaded in configurations. The game is fully suited with a translation library. Well, not translation library, I would say just like a language management. So it's possible to add in new languages, not just for UI and all that, and items and stuff like that, but also for NPC dialogues, all that stuff. Oh yeah, here you can see all the images for the different entities. One thing that's kind of different with our 2D RPG compared to other 2D RPGs is that players are completely customizable. So you can equip shoulder pads, boots, pants, shirts, anything, different hairstyles, different skin colors, different facial expressions, different eye colors, all that kind of stuff. And it'll actually show up on your character with what you have equipped, which is pretty unique for a 2D game. Most 2D games, all of the characters look the same. Well, I think Terraria would be a good example of one that's kind of like ours. I'll keep going a little bit. Yeah, we have the complete sound engine already implemented, so like footstep sounds, all that stuff. It should also work with panning for stereo. Yeah, there's a bit of a shader engine, but not much. The game uses OpenGL for rendering, which is part of the GDX, so we have some shading stuff. Maps are loaded in from files, and it just implemented the chunk system so that maps are not just one big file. They're separated into chunks. I think they're 128 by 128 right now, but we're going to change it probably to 64 by 64, maybe not. NPC dialogue system is pretty advanced so far. I mean, it's a standard one for RPGs, but it's pretty well designed, I think. So it has options for whether the player can interrupt the dialogue and just leave it. It also has condition arguments, actually just one. So for example, you need to have a certain condition for this dialogue to be triggered. And if you don't have that condition, then actually no, it's the opposite. If you have a certain condition, then it sends you to a different dialogue. But if you don't have it, then it goes to the current one. So for example here, this is for the gravestone. So if you've walked over the gravestone, then it crushes. And it was just to test out the game. And it has this condition here if you talk to it. If you have the flag gravestone crushed, so basically if your player crushed the gravestone, then change over to this dialogue. And then it opens up a whole new thing. Dialogues also have execution tasks. So for example, there's an add flag task, which will add a flag, just like the one to determine whether you had a gravestone or not. There's also a give items task, so you can give the player items if they reach that dialogue. That's probably one of the systems I'm most proud of right now in the game. And yeah, there's a bunch more. There's a really good netcode in the game. Yeah, it's pretty advanced. Well, I mean, it's not more advanced, I would say, than it's probably as good as it gets. I base it off of the Valve white papers, and I did a lot of research on it. I'm supposed to do a tutorial on it soon, but I keep putting it off. But yeah, that's basically all. But I mean, pretty soon we should be able to actually start adding in content and be able to show off all these cool systems that we have in the game, because there's a lot of stuff. Do I use Ashley for managing entities? No, Ashley is for AI, right? I think I've seen it actually in the libgdx setup, but I never use it. I don't even know how to use it. Well, you can't you can't have different eye colors for each eye, unfortunately. I mean, it is possible for us to implement, but not really useful. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to this now. Yeah, it's for entities, but what does it do exactly? It's for AI, right? I mean, I don't really see what management entities would really need. All right, see ya. Good luck with work. Yeah, I think I looked into Ashley at one point, but oh, I think I know what the problem is actually. It's that the tool is being loaded in before the assets. Could that actually be? Boy, I'm having a hard time finding my place around all this. Okay, so this thing doesn't actually load in the asset manager. So what does? Oh, it's probably the renderer. One thing I did change though recently is that in the map editor is that it uses libgdx to render the editing scene here. So that's a new thing. And before that it wasn't. It was super inefficient. So I'm glad I changed that. It was like really slow to edit stuff with the chunk system, trying to render so many tiles. It's good to have GPU acceleration on that for sure. Okay, so it seems like the selected tool is being okay, I see what I can do here. Okay, so the tool is being initialized before. So essentially I just need to reload this thing whenever other things get reloaded. So do I have a reload method already in here? Nope. I must. There we go. Reloads lists. Okay, so the combo box, I'm going to have to make a an instance object, an instance value. Sorry, I feel like we're going to have a hard time entertaining. Okay, and then that should be good, I think. There you go. Okay, so I should obviously make it bigger because it's not very big. But it's in there now. And it doesn't actually do anything either. But, I mean, that logic shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think so. Yeah. Yay! I fixed a little bug. Why is it not expanding? Oh, I have to set the grid width. I'm not a big fan of grid back layouts. Actually, speaking about... oh, there you go. Yeah, that's good. Speaking about map editors and what to use to make them, I was really considering using... making it on the web, so using JavaScript and HTML and all that. And yeah, that would have been a good idea too, I think. Actually, one of the other programmers, well, the other programmer on the team made a item editing tool, which essentially could be used to generate configuration files for items. And he did that on the web, and yeah, it worked out pretty well. So that would have probably been the better idea, I think. That would take way too long to code everything for that. Hey, how's it going, Raging Rabbit? Okay, so that's in the game now. So basically, what I think I need to do is I want to reload the list. So I'm going to modify this method here, reload list. So basically what this does is it reloads the list of items, but I want to add in a new argument in it for the category. So it's only going to reload items of the category that it's looking through. Get map tile categories. What is the method called? Isn't that it? Get category tiles. Okay. I'm pretty good. Working on the map editor today. Get category tiles dot get using the category, and then that's it. There's really not a lot of things I need to modify to add in this feature, now that I'm thinking of it. Yeah, this needs to be category elements, because we're looping through the elements. Oh, that's one thing too I didn't consider, is everything needs to load in the combo box, needs to load based on whether the tiles or the elements are selected, because they don't necessarily have the same tile set category names. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that too. So this should reload before the list. So how can I do that? Basically just have to do if selected layer is equal to 0, oh, my mouse is still glitching out. I really need to buy a new mouse. I don't know why I'm taking so long to do that. I think it's because I haven't been using my computer that much for other things in games, right? Playing games lately. And I don't really notice it as much in games. And it could be that live streaming is actually making it pretty bad too. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's make that an else if selected. Okay. And then in here, we just have to tell it tile sets combo box dot Get selected item. I guess that's a do.toString even though they're supposed to be strings. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't return a generic type there. That's kind of annoying. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's it for that part. Now I just have a couple things to do here. I feel like there's a lot of things in Java that don't use generics that should, which is a little bit annoying. Okay, so here, this is what determines whether something changed from from elements to tiles. So that reloads the lists. Yeah, I mean, I think that should be it. I just, one more thing I forgot to do here. Actually, this should be just thrown into reloads list, but anyways, I'll do that in a second. The tileset combo box should be cleared first. Remove all items. All right. That's not an ambiguous name at all. They could just use .clear like every other list. Or clear items or something. Anyways. Oh, I didn't know that. If you double click like that on a method, it selects the whole thing. That's kind of cool. I like that. Let's rename that to cat. All right, now the issue is that we only have one category to actually test all this stuff with. So I guess I'm going to have to quickly add something. I have no idea what I can add. I'll add a tree with some snow on top and I'll make the category winter or something like that. Import a tiled image. Is 16 by 16 actually it? Yeah. I'm getting confused because actually the old Archipelo used to use 18 by 18. But that was like almost 2 years ago, so I don't know why I'm getting mixed up. Don't import the tiles. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Actually, the thing is, the art that you just saw right now was actually from an older artist, and we lost contact with him. But we have a new artist who does some pretty cool stuff too. So yeah, you can check out our devlogs to see his stuff. He does some pretty nice art as well. But yeah, this style is probably going to get replaced with something else. But it's good for now, definitely for testing. You can't see it at all. That's a little bit too gray, I think. Go a little bit gray here for some shading. You can tell the art was not done by me. Yeah, it could have been worse, I guess. It's hard to tell with a background like that here. If I had a background layer, I'd do some red or something like that. Yeah, it's not that great. And it's not really accurate either. Like, why would there be snow on top of a green tree? Tree should be... There shouldn't be leaves on the tree, of course. I should know that being Canadian. All right, export that to... Yeah, for testing, it's fine. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I have to test with something, so. Winter. Okay. So now I'm going to have to add in the definitions here. So I get to actually try out this now, which is interesting for me, because I never actually got to try out my own engine for adding in the categories. Okay, so it's number 8. The ID is snowy tree. Actually, I should probably remove this name stuff, because that's just English. ID is fine being in English, but the name is kind of useless because we have translations anyway. Thing is, though, you're not really going to see the name of tiles and elements anyways. It might, yeah, it might be good just to keep it. I think I've actually debated this in the last live stream. X and Y are both 0, I believe. Here, let me see how the other tree did it. Yeah, both 0. Width and height here, I'm just going to copy this stuff over. Width and height are both that, and this just needs to be changed to winter. And there you go. So that's basically how you add in a new element into the game. And yeah, I think that's it. I can just test it now, right? I think. Oh, input is equal to null. Map elements. Could be I saved in the wrong place. Oh, right after reload it. Hey, thank you, Eclipse. Okay, so it looks like it didn't load in the other category. Oh, right, because this is the tiles. If you go to elements, we should have the winter one here. Now this didn't reload. And that completely makes sense, because in here in the reload list, we're passing in the value of the hold on a second, should I do that? Yeah, that's fine. Passing in the value of the category, and then we're actually changing the category later on, which makes no sense. So this should change to that. And then these two things should use no, it's tile set combo box. Wait, no, that's not it. No, that's good. It was good the way I had it. I just need to change some stuff. It's because I forgot to add the listener, that's why. Oh yeah, no, I just jump to conclusions and find something else. Here, where was the error? Oh, it's not there anymore. Okay, here. Yeah, I just click there and... Because I mean, I can see the path that I'm checking now. And I know that was right, it's just something else. So essentially I just have to find everywhere where all this stuff is reloaded. So I'll just call reload instead. Oh my goodness, this mouse. All right, there you go. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your message about JSON. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. I honestly prefer it over XML, but that's... I don't really have any arguments for it. I just like JSON and I find it's kind of nice. It's probably just because I'm a big fan of JavaScript, that's why. I don't know, the more I think about this fun times I had programming in JavaScript, the more I like that language. Just a nice quick language, especially using Node. It's like, oh yes, that's fast. You just start programming something and you get something done in a couple minutes. It's a nice feeling. Oh yeah, the XML parser is bad. I don't think I ever used it. You mean just like the editor, or like the because there's a visual editor, right, in Eclipse for XML files? Okay, sorry. Losing where I am here. Okay, yeah, so here's the combo box. Okay, so I need to add an event to the combo box. So tile set combo box dot add action listener. Okay, so when an action is performed on the combo box, basically just want to call reload. Actually, I think I have it pasted here. All right, for some reason, those things load twice. No, I don't want to call reload. Oh, I see. That's fun. Reload list. Oh, right. This needs to be toString. Alright, hopefully it works now. Oh yay, a crash. Oh, the DOM parser. Wait, so you don't mean the visual editor? Like, because I've used that before with Android development. It's just kind of like an editor where you can add in objects and stuff. Is that? Because just reading XML files like in a text format seems okay. Never had problems with it. Hey, there you go. Cool. All right, seems to be working. Also want to try it with a tile quick though. That shouldn't be too long to add in. Let's create a map. Let's just add in some grass. Whoa. I love when I accidentally use bucket fill on trees. It's just whole map gets filled out with trees. And then try the winter tree. Hey, what do you know? And then that should pretty much just work. Here, I gotta check out this thing you're talking about. Because I'm actually using a lot of XML these days at work, so. Can't see the forest through the trees. It's kind of a funny expression. All right, seems good. What time is it now? Okay, so I've been streaming for almost an hour and a half. Oh no, just like an hour pretty much. Cool. So let's add in the entity adder so I can show you guys what I've done so far. So basically it loads this combo box with all the different kinds of entities, and then you're able to click and it automatically loads in properties, which is kind of cool. Now I had some pretty optimistic plans for some of the things in here, which I don't know if I actually want to do because it seems a little complicated. Yeah, it seems like it could be a little much. Like for example, well, okay, well here's kind of the. So I'll show you guys quickly how this thing works. Should be, no, not player. I have some pretty cool ideas for the map editor for the entities, but the thing is that some of the stuff would just take so long to implement. I'm not sure if I actually wanted, if it'd actually be worth it, or You probably would, but maybe in the future. I don't know, it probably wouldn't take that long to implement. Actually, I'm sure there'd be easy ways to do things. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Okay, okay, where should I start to show you guys this? Okay, so it should be in the source shared, I believe. And property definitions. Okay, so essentially, there you have the entity config files, right? Yeah, let me get a good one, like a spawner. So the spawner has quite a few properties. So it has a width and height of, you know, the region it can spawn stuff in. It has an amount, so how many entities it should spawn at one part. Spawn rate, so how often it should look to spawn entities, and the snapshot, so actually what it spawns, right? So you can see here, there's each different property also has a type. So there are basic types and complicated types. So C has 3 integers, which are nice and easy to add. So here, let me just, is the spawner even in here? Why is the spawner not here? Maybe I just forgot to implement it in the map editor or something like that. Here, hold on a second, I'm gonna do that quickly. Where is it? Entity type. I think that's all I have to do. Yep, so got the spawner here. Oh, of course, it causes a null pointer exception. Gotta start a map first. Yeah, I have some exceptions I need to work out. Here, I'm just gonna do something random. Okay, so just say I try to spawn a spawner. So you can see here it has the different values. So the integers, it gives this kind of integer selector field. You know, so you have these 4 integers here. Well, as you saw here in the definition for the spawner, you have the width, the height, the amount, the rate, and the snapshot. So these are all here, but entities have some default values to them. So every entity has a health value. Every entity has a direction that they're facing in. Also a style attribute. So this is automatically generated using how many styles that they have in their config. And they all have a position in the map. But they also have their own custom properties. So these are things that are loaded in, you know, that are custom. I can also specify whether a property is mandatory to specify or not. So yeah, that's how that works. Nice, a 4,000 word essay. That's fun. In college I had I could probably find it actually if I go on my Google Drive. I'll tell you how many words there were. I think it was over 7,000 if I'm not mistaken. But that's college. It's a little different. It was actually a fun essay to write, which is good. No, not that class. It was this one. All right, I think I found it. Word count. No, that's not it. 1500 words. Hold on, I got the wrong one. Oh yes, it was this class, I remember. Oh, maybe it wasn't as many words as I thought. Yeah, 2500? That's not that bad. Okay, well, it was 11 pages. Sorry about that. I wasted time trying to not impress you, but like show you, hey, look, this is what I'm doing in college. You got easy stuff, but yeah, 4,000 words sounds like a lot. Yeah, what's the game about? So the game is essentially, we're trying to capture like a feeling of adventure. That's what I feel like the game's about, at least for me. I'm a big fan of like open world exploration games, especially like in a fantasy pirate kind of era. I think that's a lot of fun. So that's kind of the goal of it. It's going to be a little bit darker in some parts and very joyous in other parts. So kind of like Ocarina of Time, I guess. That's kind of what we're... Nothing too creepy, of course, or anything like that, but just, you know, fun stuff. But yeah, the game's going to be pretty open. I mean, not going to be a big story or anything like that. I don't really know if the other team members are really into writing stories anyways. I think we're just going to have some cool dungeons and some fun puzzles. And basically just get to do all that with your friends, you know. Create your character and build them up. So it should be a kind of a fun, addictive game, I think. Okay, yeah, so that's how the custom things are loaded in. And here you can actually see all the different types. So essentially what I need to do for the map editor, not the map editor, sorry, the entity adder tool, I guess I should call it, is I need to implement a UI element for adding in all of these things. So it's not super difficult to do for some of them. That's the thing. So as I just showed you, integers is very easy. I just added in a number selector and then that's it. You can select the numbers and then, you know, end the story pretty much. Float, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's just basically a text box that only accepts numbers, that allows for decimals and negatives as well too. Double is essentially the same thing, just a larger float. And then there's some more complicated ones. So there's one here which is point or coordinate or location. Actually, I have two called location. That doesn't work. Here, I'll just remove that. And what this is just basically an X and Y in the game world. Hold on, I just need to make sure I didn't break something here with removing that. I don't, did I? Here. Better safe than sorry, I guess. It's in here. Okay, yeah, pose. I said as point. All right, good. Okay, so yeah, there's a world coordinate. So my idea with that was to have a selector window that opens up with like a view of the map, and you can kind of scroll around it and then click an exact point on the map that you want to use for the coordinate. Now that might be a good idea, but it might not as well, so I don't know. it could be complicated to implement. I might be spending a lot of time on something that's not really necessary. But then again, it could also save a lot of time for when we're map editing. We won't have to manually enter an X and Y coordinate, which can be a bit of a pain. Location, very similar, except you also have the option to choose a map that you want to use. Direction. So you saw that one already. It was basically just a combo box where you select one of the 8 directions. A rectangle. This I'm thinking I'm going to do something similar to the point. But instead of just selecting one point, you select 2. So you'd select, the bottom left corner or some corner, and then select another one. So that definitely has some complicated logic into it. String, obviously super easy. It's just a text box. Boolean, easy as well, just a check mark. Object, this is another complicated one. So I'm going to add in kind of like not a complicated one, but a simple-ish JSON creator UI. Entity snapshot, which is actually what the entity adder is creating. It's an entity snapshot. So once I've completed all the other things, then the entity snapshot by definition should be created as well. And style. Why did I create this one? Oh, right, because it has a limit of the number of styles of that entity. So yeah, there's some complicated ones. Some I'm not really excited to implement. I think it's going to be a little bit annoying. Yeah, but I can start just getting into it now. I think a few of them I'm just going to leave off for now because I don't really need them that much. And I might even remove some altogether, like the rectangle. I don't see myself using that at all, except for the spawner. I don't see how that could be useful at all. Yeah, why did I add that one? I think I was just going ham, just trying to think of possible values. Anyways. So yeah, that's basically all. Yeah, the rectangle might actually be useful for the spawners. I think I might implement it. Because it's not just a one-time thing. Every single time you make a spawner, it would be much easier to have a rectangle selector tool for that. So yeah, which ones do I have implemented so far? Let me check that up quick. Let's close all this. See, the problem is that my mouse is like a double click on its own, which is the thing that's making everything all annoying. Okay, so the entity adder tool. Now this thing doesn't actually do that much. It just spawns in a window called the entity definer. That's why I had to go in this thing so I can find what it was called. Entity definer. So this is the window. And you can check here. It has property definition.getType. So then it goes through the different possible types and basically opens up a dialog or creates a field or something like that based on what the type is. So see if it's a double or a string. Or a float or whatever. It does a text box. kind of have to go through this and remember what I actually did. See, you can see here, this is the combo box for the directions, so it loops through all the possible directions and adds them in. So yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. It's pretty neat actually. The style one. So the ones I have left to implement are entity snapshot, which is basically recursive because selecting entity snapshot will open up another entity definer. So yeah, that's a little bit of recursion there for that. Item. Did I even define this one? Yeah, I don't think I did. I guess I also added in an item. Here, let me just add some stuff to the type map. Dot put. C++. I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea of a language that still gets compiled into machine code. I think that's pretty cool. As Java's not really like that. It's just like some kind of bytecode that goes in the JVM. I'd like to learn C++. I've looked at some C++ code in the past to learn about networking and stuff like that. I think it's a pretty cool language. I would like to learn it. And but if you're just starting out with programming, I would kind of, yeah, I wouldn't go for C++ when you're just starting out. It's not a very, it's a pretty, I wouldn't say a difficult language, but it's not as forgiving for beginners, definitely, especially without a garbage collector. I'd say Java is a good language to start with, or maybe JavaScript. I think my favorite language is probably Java. I just like the raw object-oriented nature of it. It's just, I find it's nice for solving problems and stuff like that. It's good for designing more complicated things, I think. Okay, so there's the item. JSON, so that's a more complicated one. I'll probably leave that for later. Just want to get started with something simple, you know. I mean, I've implemented the simplest ones already. So I should probably just start with doing the point here. Modifiers, that adds new snapshot modifier. Now what is all that about? I remember I was like so excited to program this a few months back. I'm trying to remember the way I designed it because it seemed kind of cool. So it's like when you click the create button, it would take all of the modifiers and it would modify the snapshot with it. That's kind of cool. Oh, okay, yeah, I see that here. It would put the string. Okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, C++ is a bit of a different language. If you're starting out, I would actually really recommend doing JavaScript. My recommendation used to be Java, but I find just getting everything set up to do a Java project, and there's so much syntax that you just don't understand from the start, you know, like the main method. Like when you create a brand new project, you have a main method with a class and all that stuff, and it's just kind of, it's a lot when you're just starting out. I remember like when I started programming, I had no idea what void meant for methods. I didn't know that it meant that there's no return type. And I just thought there was so much syntax just right from the start that I didn't understand. So if someone wants to start learning programming, I would say definitely go with JavaScript. Don't even do it on the web with HTML and all that. Just use like Node or something. Maybe make like a Discord bot, or I don't know, some interesting program that you would find cool. Oh, return? Well, basically the way to think of it is that you have a method, which is essentially a task. So it's something that an object can do. So something that, like here, just say we have the entity definer, which is a window, and it has, okay, well, it doesn't have any methods. Here, an entity adder tool. So it has this method here called render, and it's set to void. So essentially, when you want the entity adder tool to render something onto the screen, you don't really want it to send anything back, because you don't really need anything back. You just want it to render, and then that's it. You just want it to do its thing, and you don't want anything back. But in some cases, you do want something back. So here would be a good example of that here. Oh, sorry, I'm explaining this whole thing about return, and that's a bit embarrassing. Sorry about that. When you just started programming, yeah, no, that's what like what I just said too. I didn't get it either. I might as well just finish with this return thing. Here, just say this one. This is a method, get type, and it returns a property type. So essentially, you give it a string, like a bool or boolean, and it's going to return you a boolean. So it does something, and it gives you back a result. So yeah, I think my teacher in college made a kind of an analogy of it. It's not a super effective one, but it's essentially like there's different kinds of jobs in the world. You have jobs where people create things and bring them back, and you have other jobs where people just do stuff, you know, just to get things done. Like you can have a carpenter, you tell him make me a chair, and he's going to come back to you with a chair. But you can have, I don't know, a hockey player. You tell him go play a hockey game. He's not going to come back to you with some product, right? He's just a hockey player or something like that. Yeah, I felt a little bit embarrassed there. It's kind of weird going into this whole explanation. I'm so used to like being a tutor for so many people on the YouTube channel, you know, doing tutorials and stuff, and so many people posting questions. Actually, my YouTube inbox right now is at 25 notifications because I haven't checked it in a while. So after this, I'm probably gonna have to go and look through all of that. Thing is, now YouTube actually notifies you when you get a new subscriber, so a lot of that can just be new subscribers. So anyways, at least that. Yeah, return to sender, address unknown. Now that would be a really weird exception to get. I feel like I'm not being that productive in this live stream, but that's okay. I kind of just want to hang out a little bit. Might work on the game a bit more tomorrow. It's hit and miss with live streams. Sometimes I'm more productive, sometimes I'm less. It just really depends. I think I'm just too tired to do both right now anyways. That's nice to talk with you guys. Okay. So I understand how all this works now. So essentially I need to create a point object, which is an X and Y, so it would be something like this. Hey, thanks for the subscription, Mark. Yeah, the YouTube notifications is kind of useless. I'm not a big fan of it. It's good to know when people commented on your video, so that's what, or replied to your comments. I like that, and I think it should be reserved for that. Not getting a bunch of notifications about YouTube channels that posted videos and stuff like that. Like, I go on the homepage for that. I don't need notifications. It's just kind of filling it up with stuff I don't need. Okay, so a point. So this is where I start getting into things where it's not just a UI element I can use to you know, accept a value. I actually have to start making other windows for that. So yeah, let's do that. So I'm actually going to create an interface for this, I think. Is it possible to do interfaces of generic objects? I'm not sure. Alright, let's create a new package called Object Definers. Alright, looks like I can use generics on interfaces. That's kind of cool. Stream for tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm probably going to work on the game, but I don't think I'll stream it. Considering how I haven't been super productive so far today, I kind of just want to have a more productive day. I'm going to make it an abstract class instead. And the constructor will require oh, this is kind of weird. Am I able to do that? Can I use the same generic in a subclass? That would be nuts. Oh yeah, I don't need this. Definition. Yeah. I think I am more productive when I'm not streaming. I know the live streams aren't really like a good replacement for the devlogs, but I think that it's good to do them every once in a while when I'm not able to when I'm not, you know, the devlog is not coming for a good while, you know, just to keep more content coming on the YouTube channel, not just for you guys, but also just for the YouTube algorithm, so that my channel still gets views and still gets posted on people's feeds and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a good part about live streaming, but yeah, I'm probably less productive. I've done some pretty crazy stuff in just an hour, not live streaming. I really have to get in the zone though, that's the thing. Okay, so object definer. So let's create one. Point object definer. Okay, so it won't pass in generics anymore. It's going to pass in a direct value. Now, is position actually an object? No. Yeah, it seems like point is. I don't know what this is all about. Alright, there you go. An object definer should actually extend something, so probably here, what does entity definer extend? JFrame, yep. JFrame. What is this complaining about? I just haven't generated serial version. Thank you. Not too sure why it has to do that, but anyways. Oh, have you live streamed before? I never actually checked out your channel, Raging Rabbit. I didn't even know you had one, actually. Oh yeah. Oh, so that's what your logo was. Because I remember your old logo was like some pixelated guy with a torch. Yeah, I'm gonna subscribe to you for sure, man. I'll definitely check out your devlogs once I'm done with this live stream. So you've live streamed before then? Yeah, no problem. Actually, I can probably shout you out if you want. There's 5 people watching right now. I'm sure they'd be interested in another channel similar to mine. Okay. What kind of viewership do you get? Like, do you post on Twitter and stuff like that? Like maybe you get because I find posting on Twitter, I usually get more viewers, almost double the viewers. Yeah, okay, cool. So Hey everyone, check out Raging Rabbit's channel. I sent the link here. Yeah, so I haven't actually checked any of your videos yet because I'm on stream right now. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel before now. But you do devlogs, which is pretty cool, so maybe people would be interested. Yeah, I think Twitter is a good idea to post on. Yeah, it's good you do that, because use hashtags too. Those are actually important. Like, kind of joke around about how many hashtags people use, but when people are looking for content on Twitter, they check with hashtags, so that's definitely the best, definitely the way to go. I use hashtag game dev and indie dev as well. Those are good. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Even if you don't have that many followers on Twitter, if you use hashtags, if there are people checking those hashtags like indie dev or game dev, then they'll see your post show up on their feed. So it's not for nothing. It's not just your followers that see your posts. What is this complaining about? Oh, to do. Add base entity settings, add default properties. Yeah, these are all in here already. Don't need to do this for that. Okay, so the point thing. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yes, that's one other thing I want to do as well. So essentially, I want to add a method in here that allows me to respawn the window. So it's not completely lost. That's kind of my idea with that. So I could do like and then this would do dot set visible to true. Actually, this would be a protected void. This dot set visible false, and then it would also call this dot listener dot object complete. Pass in the object. This is protected. So in the entity definer, if we want to open up an editor for something, we call the shell method. It's going to set it to visible, and within the definer, we can call the complete method, which will close the window, and it'll also tell the listener, hey, look, the object is done, you can use it now. Actually, I think I'm going to make the entity definer also extend the object definer. But I might as well do that now. So extend object definer. And then this, of course, generates an entity snapshot. I think it also has to do a super thing here. What was it again? Definition complete listener. Actually, when programming in Java, it's good practice to put listeners at the end of any constructors or methods or things like that. Just so that if the person calling it decides to put in an anonymous interface. No videos and 17 subs. Yeah, well, you guys know my friend A. Hetzel here. Every single time I create a YouTube channel, he somehow finds it and subscribes, even if I don't have videos. Not just with one account too, with like 3 accounts. Make a 10 subscriber special. Yeah, well, it's just good practice, I guess, to put the listeners at the end. I don't know. I find it personally a little bit annoying having, like, just say a constructor and then the listeners like in the middle. So you have like values in the front and then some at the end. It's not as readable, I don't find. Okay, so then the entity adder tool here. So we need to add in the listener. So new. No, I don't want to override toString. Object complete. Now, why is that an error? Main editor, entity type, X and Y, and then a listener. Oh, I've got to import entity snapshot. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Thank you, Eclipse. What do you use to make your games, Raging Rabbit? I think I saw actually it was the GDX, right? If I'm not mistaken. Hey, you have a link to the Matrix videos in one of your devlogs? He does really good devlogs. I wish my videos would be as good and as regular as his are in the future. I haven't watched one of his videos in a long time, actually. Okay, so you just use raw OpenGL. That's cool. So like thin matrix style. He has a lot of subs too. If I'm gonna have as many subs as he will, I think that's as many as I would ever want on the channel. I mean, not as much as he will. I mean, as much as he has right now. Okay, so we have this .show method here, which is cool. Okay, so nothing actually happens here. So I'm just going to make a to-do, add entity to the map. All right, so I'm glad I at least made this today, plus the other thing. SpongeBob. Oh yeah, I remember watching SpongeBob so much. Yeah, I guess he does do it full time. See, that's the thing. I'm really impressed with how focused he is and how much he actually gets done. Like, I can get the summer off and get like a good 3 months off, and I can barely work on the game. Like, I find it really hard to find motivation. Like, the more time I have, the harder I find it is to find motivation to work on it. I think when I was in school, it was a good middle ground. I would work at school and even program and work on the game at school and get home and work on it more. I didn't feel as tired. Okay, I should add this now. Okay, so I'm going to start by adding in a label. Yeah, I know where you're coming from with that. I've had somebody who sent me one of their projects once. I don't remember if he learned how to... I don't think he learned how to program because of my channel, or to make games because of my channel, but nevertheless, he sent me his game, like a GitHub link to it, and I cloned it and stuff. It was kind of fun to be able to just play around with the code and do all that. I think that's one thing that's going to be fun to Archipelo 2. I'm personally going to vouch to keep the game, at least the client, well, only the client, open source. So you guys will be able to edit it and mod it and do whatever you want to the client. I feel like the networking engine is pretty good, so it's going to be hard for people to cheat. And also having an open source client will be easier to find cheats. I feel like it will attract people who will try to find exploits and then report them to us, so that's good. Yeah, it is hard to stick with one project. I found that too. I'm surprised I've gotten this long working on one game. Especially since I had to restart too. It helps having a community though, for sure. Once you get more subs on your YouTube channel, I'd say once you reach 50 subs around, you start having a lot of people who are really interested in your project and giving you good feedback. I remember I had a few people who were giving me some good feedback right at the start about security issues and stuff like that, and it was really helpful, I find. So this is for a point, right? Okay. Entity definer, point. Okay, so here what I would do is create a point object definer. Oh, I didn't define a JSON yet. Variable defined in enclosing scope must be final. Yeah. Whoa, it has to be final. I won't be able to set it then. No. What? How am I gonna do this? Yeah, I think I'll reach 50 subs. I mean, I never thought I would be getting close to 1,000. I'm pretty happy about that. Just think about how soon it was that I had 100. It was like a year and a half ago I had 100. Yeah, that was fun actually. That was when I started making like better videos, and it was a good time. Now, how am I going to get around this? I've never had a situation like that where I needed... So I'm going to have to encapsulate this JSON into an object. That's annoying, man. Alright, I guess I have no other choice. I'm gonna put that in tools. Call it a string capsule. Might as well give it a fun name, even though it's such a boring idea. Here, let's just make it public. Is that even how you spell capsule? I don't even know. All right, that works. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add in a simple button here. How did I determine the position? Okay, I had I. Space between elements. Oh, the problem I'm having, basically I had a string here called JSON4, and then I would set the value of it in this method using an anonymous listener, and then I would also use the JSON4 in this anonymous listener. It was giving me an error saying that the value has to be final, which I don't know why it's not bothering me with that now. But essentially I had to put the string in a capsule object like this. So it wouldn't bother me with that. So I could actually set it, because you can't set the value of something that's final. So now I have to add in. Yeah, I remember you were in the 100 sub special. Yeah, a lot of people who are still sticking to the project nowadays were in there. Remember you were in there? I think Raging Rabbit, you were there too, right? Yeah, I've never actually had this problem before. I don't know, I just never came into a situation where I needed to do that. There's probably a better solution than using like a capsule object, but whatever. It's fine. I don't know, maybe. Do you remember if you're around since the since we reach 100 subscribers? I feel like you were, but maybe not. Yeah, emojis on the. They don't look like they're as fun as the Twitch emojis, though. I don't think you can make your own either. Okay, so you probably were in the sub-special. Because I had like a list of the first 100 subs in there. The reward was putting you guys in some kind of quest or something on an island. Actually, that's probably going to be one of the first things I actually add into the game. So, you know, might as well. I think it'll be kind of fun to do. Do a simple quest. Yeah, no, what I'm going to do here, JText field. Yeah, I think it'll be a fun thing to implement. I'm actually pretty excited to start actually adding in some maps and quests and stuff like that. I think that would be a fun one. I also want to do like a nice dungeon to start out. I'm going to be using a lot of placeholder art to start out, but I'm sure once I start actually adding stuff in like that, then all the other team members will get some more interest. It's kind of hard to be interested in the project if nothing's really going on. I'm just working on the engine right now, so we got some pretty good team members on. Set bounds. This will be What's this complaining about now? Oh, JText field. Oh, and that's that border. I want to set bounds. There you go. Get content pane dot Oh, you mean your old account for the original Archipelo? Yeah. I don't think I migrated any of that stuff over. I didn't even use databases back then. All the player progress and settings and everything was saved into files. It's completely different from the way it's used now. So sorry about that. But I mean, it's not like anybody really progressed much. Maybe you crossed the invisible water bridge or something like that. Oh man, that was fun actually. I'm excited to start working on maps again. Yeah, I remember that. You guys from like the beginning probably remember when the player sprite was just like a Link from The Legend of Zelda facing upwards and you couldn't even change direction. Yeah, I'm glad I restarted the code for that. There were so many things that I was doing wrong. I spent like a month just trying to figure out how to do colored text on the server and client. No, more, like in the chat for the game, I spent probably 2 months just getting colored and italics and bold text implemented in an efficient way. It was such a waste of time. Now I just use the way libgdx does it. There's no bold and italics, but it's good enough. I mean, there's colors. That's all we really need. Yeah, Decomposer is actually, I think it's another account of A. Hetzel. Yeah, I remember that. I remember playing with other players too. I had some people joining when I was testing it. I backed up the code for the original, but I should I should check it out. See, it was him. I knew it. It's one of his many account names. Oh man, I'm so excited for this to actually like work, man. It's gonna be nuts. Get content pane. Is there a click listener on this? Video edit button.add. Your mouse listener, new mouse listener. Oh, hey, don't you love that? Yep, I'm definitely implementing a mouse adapter. What the heck did I just do? What? Oh, okay, I opened it up in a secondary view. Okay, go into. Oh yeah. Yeah, getting on top of the cave, I remember that. Actually, I honestly don't think there's any protection for that in the new Archipelo, except for the custom collision detection we can add in. But I have a couple of ideas how we can do that. Yeah, actually I have a good idea. Let's create a new class here, mouse adapter. That was easy. Oh, I believe there already is a mouse adapter implemented. Yep, there is. Didn't even have to do this. Alright, cool. It's fun to do things the hard way. Alright, that looks good. I mean, we won't actually be able to select thingamabob, but let's try it anyways. No. Actually, I like getting crashes like this. It's definer.show. Set visible. What is this? Oh, it's going in an infinite loop. That's cool. So this has to override something, I think, then. Is that the issue? Yeah, looks like it. Surprised I figured that one out so quick. Well, maybe I didn't. We'll find out in a second. Yeah, no, I did. Alright, cool. Create a new final string and reference it to the first one instead of using our wrapper class. No, because the issue is that, well, maybe you might know this. I probably just don't understand what you're saying. But essentially, I have this listener here that when it gets the object, the completed point object, it sets the value of JSON4, which this thing ends up using later on. So it can't be final because it needs to be able to set the value. But I have a feeling that you're describing a way around it. I just don't understand. Yeah, the mountain bug he was talking about was, oh, I have another glitch I need to tell you guys about after. It was so cool, but oh, it was funny. The mountain bug was basically, I don't know if you remember the map, but you're able to enter a cave, and then you would walk through the cave, and then you can come out the other end on top of the mountain. But the thing is that once you came through the door, your character was on the door, and there was no collision above it, so your character could easily just walk up and then get onto like an area it's not supposed to. But if you tried walking back down, you would collide with the door again for the first time, and you would get teleported back into the cave. It's a bit hard to describe, but there's ways around it in the new Archipelo that aren't as complicated. Yeah, and a really cool, it wasn't really a hack, but it was kind of it was a bug that one of my friends discovered. I have a friend who just figures out game glitches like crazy. Like it's crazy the way he's able to think of exploits and stuff. In the original game, I gave people the option to set settings for themselves. Oh yeah, don't worry about it, Raging Rabbit. So yeah, they could like set their speed, but I didn't set any restrictions on what number they could use for their speed. I just parsed for an int, and that was it. So what my friend did was he entered a negative value for the speed. And essentially what would happen was, after you set your speed to a negative value, the player would try walking, and of course they would walk, but they would end up going the opposite direction. Even though their player is facing in the main direction. And because of the way the code worked, and just the fact that the game was tile-based, so whenever you walked, you would walk towards the next tile. So essentially, since you're walking in the opposite direction, you would never reach the tile in front of you. I don't know how that actually happened, but it did happen. So basically you would walk, just say you would walk left, you would start going right infinitely, and you wouldn't be able to stop. And you would completely go through collisions and everything. It was pretty funny. But yeah, you would basically just lose your character because there's nothing you can do. There's no like suicide command or something to be able to respawn or anything like that. So yeah. Yeah, also you could set your run speed to like crazy values. I think I probably showed it in a devlog. Yeah, it really was like a moonwalk because you're facing in the opposite direction you're moving from. Yeah, and you could set your speed to crazy values that you couldn't even control your character. Yeah, okay, this bug here, what's going on with that? Yeah, I'm just gonna call this something different just to get rid of some confusion. Okay, because that method was actually deprecated before, that's why. Alright, let's try this again. Probably won't work though. I think after I see that this whole thing is working, of course I won't be able to actually input a position value, but I think after that I might leave. I have to eat soon. My throat's getting tired too. Okay, there you go. See, there's the button now. Okay, so that's way too big, of course, but I can easily modify that. You should be able to click it and it opens up a window. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna have to adjust that window size, of course. So yeah, let's fix all that stuff. Okay, so that seemed to have fixed it then. I'm kind of surprised actually, but anyway. Okay, so the size of this button should be 20 by 20, I think. Or maybe I'll make it 30 wide. So we can make 200. Should be okay, I think, like that. Here, I'm going to run in debug mode. I should probably put some sort of icon or something in it, like maybe a notepad and pencil icon to show that it's an editable field. I'm sure there's like a royalty-free one I can find online or something like that. Here, player. There you go. Yeah, that looks good actually. So if we have a little icon in here like a pencil and paper, And yeah, just click on that, opens up a window. Now, why the window doesn't show on top of the other one, I have no idea. Probably doesn't matter though. Can I open this? Yeah, whatever. So yeah, maybe I'll go get an icon online or something. Here, I want to fix that window size too. It's a little weird. 400 and do 450 for that. Here, set a default value for the object. So this dot object is equal to new point. I should probably add a little button too. Alright, let's see how that looks. Oh, actually, let's add a listener here. Dot add mouse listener, new mouse adapter. Complete. All right, looks good. Let's try this thing out. Oh man, the puns are so bad. I wish I was having tacos. Actually, I almost feel like going to the grocery store just so I can buy ground beef and make tacos. Maybe tomorrow. That's a good idea, actually. You've inspired me. You gotta love that giant OK button. How did that happen? Those bounds aren't that big. Either way, it's good to test. Okay. Okay, so set the value to basically nothing. That's just because it's trying to be efficient with space, which is good. I like that. Let's give it some real values here, see what happens. So if we do this and we click OK, hey, there you go. You can see it in there. That's cool. So it created the JSON. I'm actually pretty happy about that. So for the rest of the window, of course, we're going to have to add in a rolled renderer of some sort and be able to select an actual coordinate for it. So it'll take a bit of effort, but once we get that one thing in there, it should be pretty easy to add in also a location selector and a rectangle selector. And other than those things related to position, what else do we have? The JSON thing, that'll be a bit challenging, but that's all right. The item one can't be too hard to do. Oh, sorry. That's basically it. It's just the JSON and the item one. Yeah, this is actually pretty doable. JSON one, I have a pretty good idea, and I think it's gonna be fun to implement. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this live stream here. Thank you guys for joining. This was actually a really fun live stream for me. It's kind of fun to think about, you know, working on actual maps and stuff in the old Archipelo, and the stuff you guys discovered. It reminds me of the whole reason why I'm doing this, and make a fun game for everybody. And I'm excited to play this game with you guys, you know, and it's a fun journey to develop it, and I'm glad I have some other people to work on it with me, and a great community. And I thank you guys so much for all your support. And yeah, I mean, we're getting really close. The more I think about how close I am, the more I just want to work on the game and get to that point where I can start making dungeons and stuff, and playing around. And I would really like to do like a cool subscriber special with you guys, and set up a server and get you guys to try to join. It would be good not only just to try to find some bugs and to fix them. I'd probably even go in voice chat and talk with you guys directly if you want. I think it would just be a fun event, you know, for everybody to just be able to try out the game finally. And it might take some time. It's probably going to come way after I actually reach the 1,000 subscriber special, before I reach 1,000 subscribers. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for joining. And oh yes, I also want to mention, I'm going to try to live stream either Saturday afternoons like I'm doing now, or Friday nights every week. So that's my goal. So generally weekends, I have either the Friday or the Saturday planned out for something. So it's going to depend on the week. Some weeks I might have stuff to do on both. But yeah, I'll let you guys know, of course, in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, definitely check the description. Actually, I think the title and everything for this stream is probably completely inaccurate. Yeah, it says I'm doing Rimworld. Here, I'm going to change that quick. Yeah, time to wrap things up. You're talking about wrapping, like wrapping your tacos? What do you mean a chat system? Because there is a chat in the game. I don't know if you saw. I added it as one of the first things. Is that what you meant in Archipelo or something else? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited for it. I would really like to do that for the subscriber special. I'm sure the other devs will be fine with that too. Although I will warn you guys that I found some pretty game crashing bugs related to some of the netcode I need to fix. I'll probably do tests with Landon or another developer to try to fix those. But yeah. Yeah, the chat system is in the game here. Maybe I can quickly run it. I mean, there's not much, but there's even I've implemented some basic commands. So I didn't implement a lot of them, but the system is there for commands. use my test user login. Oh no, I can't find the server. Oh, do I need to do that port forward thing again? Crash the server. It could be possible. I'm gonna have to put in a lot of protection for that kind of stuff. Yeah, wrapping tacos. There's actually a lot of stuff I need to get done before we can go live, I think. It'll take some time for sure. Sorry, I just have to change some settings here so I can show you the game. Otherwise I can't connect. Oh, actually I could just do this here. Let me see. Yeah, there you go, that works. Yeah, so this is the chat. So see, when you join the game, it says, you know, welcome to the game. And it says that the person joined. I think it says welcome on the first time you join, I'm not sure. And there's a couple commands. I think there's /ping. No, no /ping. There's /me, I remember doing that. Is enjoying Archipelo. I think the server might have crashed. Yeah. Yeah, there's some bugs I need to fix with the chunk system. That thing has been the biggest pain to implement. Into the Archipelo chat? I guess I can type tacos. Okay, there you go. This should be good. Yeah, there you go. /ping /pong, and even tells you how many milliseconds. So I'm connected with localhost, so it's just one. Is having fun. It's /me, which basically just puts a message out into chat saying your name is having fun. But if you just do a regular message, like tacos, it just says your name and then what the message you did. So there is a chat. The font's a little hard to read when it's small like that. I think we might have to make some changes. Maybe for stuff like chat and things like that, we won't use a fancy font. Yeah, I forgot to mention before to Mark, but we have an inventory system in the game too. Oh, also the chat, there's a pop-out window, so you can do that too. You're even able to walk around with the pop-out window out, and then you can just get in there and type. There's actually a lot of things implemented in this game. It's going to be fun to finally be able to use it. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things in the corner. I'm not even sure why I implemented it. I kind of just wanted to have it. It's kind of a fun thing. And I'm glad I implemented it. It's going to be there once we do the subspecial or things like that, so people will be able to talk. Of course, in the future, I have plans to add in chat channels, stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like I've been ending the live stream for 15 minutes now, so I'm going to end it for real now. Yeah, thank you guys for joining, and probably see you next week, maybe Friday or Saturday. Probably Friday, actually. And yeah, that's it.